In Adamawa State. The Senate need to note that River Benue is an international river flowing into Nigeria from the highland of northern Cameroon through Jimeta-Yola in Adamawa State, to Ibi in Taraba State, Makodi in Benue State, and finally meet River Niger in Kogi State and Lokoja. The Senate is to aware that the volume of water flow from River Benue is adversely affected by the climate change and construction of dams, resulting to its uncontrolled shrinking with devastating effects on agricultural activities such as dry season farming, floods, negative effects on the land, waterways, transportation. Further aware that the River Benue flows across 7 local governments in Adamawa State, which are Fufore, Yola South, Yola North, Gire, Demsa, Numan, and Lamurde, which explain why Adamawa State is always affected by the consequences of flood disaster, largely caused by the lack of dredging of the river, which in 2022 alone, according to NEMA, displaced over 2.41 million people across, and over 600 fatalities were recorded, with expensive hectares of farmland across the state affected were swept off up to now. In addition to the earlier reported cases where 53 people lost their lives in the same river. Regards the perennial flood by River Benue and attendant consequences of loss of lives, displacement of people, and destruction of farmlands, threatening food security, will continue if urgent actions is not taken to address the situation that apparently threatens the realization of primary purpose of government. Accordingly, resolve to 1, facilitate the inclusion of the dredging of River Benue project in 2024 Appropriation Bill to address the perennial flooding and the multidimensional consequences. 2, urge the President to also facilitate the construction of Dasin Hausa Dam, proposed to be in Fufore Local Government, to curtail potential risks of excessive flood from Lagdo Dam in Cameroon. Also urge the National Emergency Management Agency to provide relief materials to the victim of the disease and embark on enlightenment of dangers of crossing rivers before or after rainfall. 4, further urge the National Inland Waterways Authority to investigate the causes of the increase in number of boat mishap in the river in the state. I so move, Mr. President.
Ago, during the consideration and debates in respect of a similar motion, this Senate resolved that the River Benue and other rivers be attended to. This Senate also, in the course of that motion and debates, resolved eventually that this particular dam, the Dasin Hausa Dam, and other dams and such proposals be considered. And furthermore, this Senate proposed a national summit to be facilitated and coordinated by our joint committees in the relevant areas, so that we can have a comprehensive idea as opposed to taking these matters in bits and pieces. And I just thought that this Senate should be reminded that that resolution stands, and I think that if we advance that resolution, if we convene the summit, all these issues, including the subject matter of this motion, will be adequately attended to. Having said that, again, I'd like to support this motion is well intentioned, and we are all united that this country gets it right, not in bits and pieces, but we should advance that resolution so that the waters flowing through the tributaries of the River Niger and the Benue, flowing through the Niger Delta, all the rivers, River Focados, River Non, River Kwaibo, all the states are affected in the Niger Delta. So I will, while seconding this motion, Mr. President, remind us to advance and fast-track the earlier resolution that our joint committees should organize a national summit so that we can have a proposal. Because there has to be more than one dam. Even the construction of this dam, as desirable as it is, cannot solve these problems. There has to be other intervention points down, slowing down the water flow and even keeping the water for other purposes, agricultural and otherwise, energy generation and so on. That's why it has to be a comprehensive agenda, which is what this Senate 3 weeks ago had decided upon. So, but I support this in principle, but in doing so, I remind the Senate to put the necessary mechanisms so that we have a national summit on this, because it's a very serious environmental issue. Thank you very much.
I want to contribute to the debate. About 3 weeks ago, there was a similar motion on the construction of the dam across River Benue in order to prevent further flooding downstream. Without doing this, the flooding will continue to affect farmlands and even houses along the banks of River Benue. So it is important that we allow the dredging of River Benue and also River Niger. It's unfortunate that billions have been sunk in the dredging of River Niger without seeing the effect of it. It is important we dredge River Niger up to Yawuri, and it's important we dredge River Benue up to Adamawa State. By so doing, it will seriously reduce flooding, and it will also improve navigation and also agricultural activities along the banks of these two rivers. In addition to that, I also recommend that there should be channelization of River Benue and River Niger, so that there will be agricultural activities all year round. Because people living along the banks of the River Benue and River Niger are only engaged in agricultural activities during the rainy season. Immediately after rainy season, they are idle. So if you channel the two rivers, it will improve agricultural activities. It will also enhance food security in the country. So, Mr. President, I want to urge all my colleagues to support this important motion because it is very timely. Only last month, as I said, we heard that over 3,000 people were displaced. Again, we are hearing today another 2,000 people have been displaced as a result of this flooding. So it's an important motion, and I urge all my colleagues to support it. Thank you, Mr. President.